This is Paul Evans, your free online business coach. You can always email me questions for me to answer here on the show at freeonlinecoachingclub@gmail.com. Here we are continuing with the monetization matrix, and we're in the third element, the third block. We've talked about message and market, and we're talking about models. We've already covered how to be a reporter, how to be a teacher, and today we're going to be talking about how to be a coach or an advisor. Now, when it comes to this move, this shift that we're creating in people's lives, we're going to shift people from being stuck to being a truck. I mean, they're going to be powerful. They're going to move forward steadily. They're going to be able to make it uphill carrying heavy loads because they're going to get this personal instruction, this personal focus that is going to allow them to break through. So when we thought about the reporter, it was show. With the teacher, it was sow, and with the coach or the advisor, it's grow. This is where people are going to actually progress the quickest, the fastest, and the strongest because they are getting information and ideas and direction that is pinpointed specifically for them. And that makes a big, big difference. So there's a lot of people out there giving away free content like I am. However, the key is when you ask me a personal question, I can take the content and put it into context. And so that's what makes it valuable, and that's what a coach or an advisor does. Now, there are a lot of courses out there telling you, man, you can make 6 figures as a coach, 7 figures as a coach, and all those are true. And there are great models. The key is what value are you going to provide to be able to make that possible in your life and in the lives of other people. So there's typically 2 types of coaches and advisors. There's the reactive and there's the proactive. I've done both of those my entire career, and they each have their own advantage or disadvantage. And you can actually do a hybrid of both, which is what most coaches do. So on the reactive side, it could be that you're focusing on Q&A, that you don't actually go out and tell anybody to do anything. They've got to ask you a question first, and then based on their question, you give them the advice to move forward. Secondly, is situations. They're in a specific situation. They may not have a question per se, but they're in a challenge. And what they're needing is a mental breakthrough, a different perspective. They may not necessarily be looking for a specific answer. They're just trying to get some feedback so that they can make their own decision. And some of the best coaches never make the actual decision for a client, but what they do is give them some advice, or third, under reacting, is that you're going to give them some direction. And then they're going to go and take that action, obviously. That's one of the greatest things about being a coach or an advisor is that you are providing that direction, but they're actually taking that action. This is not something in which you do it for them. You're doing it either with them or you're directing them down the road to go. Now, if the opposite of being reactive is being proactive. So with that, what you're going to do is have a specific path. So with the monetization matrix, obviously we've got a path that we're working on right now. We've got 12 content blocks that we're diving into, and right now just the complete overview before we get a lot more specific down the road. But with a path, what you're doing is that people get the concept to begin with, and then you're drilling down to help them along the way. So right out of the gate, when we started the matrix, we talked about the message. And the first thing was the cause. What's your cause? What's your reason why? What's your passion, your energy, your focus? What are you bringing to the table message-wise that makes you different? And so if I was coaching you through each one of these blocks, we began with cause, we would start with exercises, with instruction about how to get there in your particular niche. So that way, it would take it from content to the actual context, but we're working down the path. And the other great thing about a path is that you're able to point people back toward the path itself. So somebody comes up with this outrageous idea, and you can say, okay, within these 12 content blocks, which one of those blocks does this fit into? Well, it doesn't fit into any of those blocks. All right, so do we actually need to be doing that? See, sometimes people come up with some great ideas, but outside of your content that you're providing, the path that you're providing, it's just not going to work. And so as a coach or an advisor, you get to set the curriculum and then guide people along that path. Those of you who are authors, who have a book, your book can be your content that you lead people through, that each one of your chapters is a content block that you take people down this path, and when they step off the path, you point them back. You point back and say, no, wait a minute, we're getting out of line here. So you've got your path, but then you've also got your accountability piece so that they're going to actually report back, did they do this thing? Have they completed the assignment? What steps have they taken? And then within the accountability, you get to ask questions and make sure that they're really diving in the way that you instructed. You always get to send them back if you want to and say, nope, got to retake that. Got to refocus that. Got to drill down even more. Got to get even deeper. Have you thought about it this way? What if you spent another hour creating ideas? Do you think your calls would get tighter? So you're coaching them, you're advising them along the way to do that for a specific result. Because when you're working on a path, there's a specific result. So when we look at the monetization matrix, what is the specific path and the result? Well, there is the message, the market, the model, and the monetization. So what's the goal? It's to create a very simple, streamlined process for the business model that you've chosen to make you as much money as possible, as simple as possible. And that's what we would work for in that specific result for your particular business. So when you think about being a coach, about being an advisor, you can simply field questions and be reactive, or you can be proactive because you've got a set path for people to follow that you're guiding them down. All right, so question for today. How often, this is from Randy, how often and when should I be posting on social media, especially Instagram? I mean, it's a great question, but the question that precedes that is why? Why are you doing this? Or if you're doing it simply because people say, hey, you got to be on social media, that's not the best reason in the world, right? Are you trying to gain followers? Are you trying to ultimately make sales? Are you trying to move people from social media into your email list? So what's the overall goal? Why are you doing this? That's pretty critical. Then as far as what and when, you should be doing that, the question really is, what about your market? What are they engaged in now? What are other people in your market doing, and how are they interacting? How much activity is there within this niche? So I've got a couple of guys I watch every day on Instagram. They put out one video a day. It's about 3 minutes. Man, that's just ideal. I'm not sitting there going, man, I can't wait. I wish that they had 4 more videos today. I feel like it's just enough, and it matches that market. A lot of fitness people will post morning, afternoon, night, because they're posting recipes or workouts or motivation, and that works out well too. A lot of travel sites are posting 5, 10 times a day. That's fine. So the key is what's taking place in your market right now. What do you feel comfortable providing? And what are you able to keep doing long term? Because when it comes to social media, sometimes we hit on something that goes viral, it all works out. And other times we feel like, man, I'm just spinning my wheels. I'm creating all this content. Somebody told me I had to post 10 times a day and it's not working. Or somebody else said I just need to post once a day and that's not working. It comes down to experimenting, being there for your people, receiving the feedback, growing your channels, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever you're choosing, and then staying consistent with that over time. When I talk about the one system, you've got to commit yourself at least to a year to one particular channel and giving it everything that you've got for 1 year to measure those results. It still doesn't guarantee success. But if you're just dedicating yourself to a week or to a month, you're not going to get enough data in to know if it really works. So Randy, I'm not able to answer your question specifically enough, but if you'll send me your niche, if you'll send me links to your channels, and if you will send me also 10 links to other people in your niche so that I can look at their channels as well, to see what the patterns are, what the activity is, why perhaps they're successful, and then we can put together a plan for you. All right, next time we're going to move down to the monetization section and going to recover reporter, teacher, and coach from the standpoint of how do you actually make money, what should you be charging, what are your deliverables, things along those lines. So we'll see you next time. And as always, success is not an accident. Be blessed.